Here today to share outcomes pertaining to a successful long-term narcotics investigation, Operation Decrypted. I want to begin by acknowledging partner agencies whose representatives stand here with me today. Our Jacksonville Sheriff's Office Major Case Narcotics Unit, our local and federal law enforcement partners from the DEA, and North Florida High Intensity Drug Trafficking Area Program. And although members of this agency are not standing with us today, I would like to acknowledge the San Bernardino Sheriff's Department, who provided critical assistance during this investigation. Operation Decrypted was a 4-month investigation, which utilized the investigative and technological resources of the Jacksonville Sheriff's Office and our partner agencies. The target of this well-executed and detailed investigation was a major drug trafficking organization in Jacksonville. However, investigating this target garnered important information and arrests across the country, including California, Georgia, South Carolina, and Virginia. Before I share more information on Operation Decrypted, I want to frame why this operation was instituted. In the past decade, our community has been ravaged by the impact of opiate addiction and related crime. In recent years, fentanyl, a synthetic opioid, has entered the street narcotics market. Fentanyl's entry into our community has been devastating and deadly. The dangers that fentanyl poses are unprecedented in the world of illegal narcotics. A tiny amount, just 2 milligrams, just think about that, 2 milligrams of fentanyl can kill a person. There are 500 doses per gram of fentanyl. Major drug traffickers move fentanyl by the kilogram, which contains 500,000 lethal doses. In 2021, the Jacksonville Sheriff's Office investigated a mind-boggling 409 overdose deaths. However, in 2022, that number exploded to 470. Overwhelmingly, these deaths were the result of fentanyl toxicity. Given these horrifying overdose figures, it is difficult to underestimate the danger these illegal substances pose to our community. Every dose of fentanyl that is removed from the hands of dealers is a potential life saved. Simply put, the people who are trafficking fentanyl and other poisons are killing members of our community in staggering, heartbreaking numbers. Operation Decrypted was developed to target some of the largest known sources and suppliers of fentanyl in the Jacksonville area. Although rooted in Jacksonville, Operation Decrypted ended up connecting law enforcement with drug trafficking sources as far as Georgia, California, Jamaica, and Mexico. As a result, Operation Decrypted resulted in 15 major drug traffickers have been arrested and are represented on the boards next to me. These individuals were major fentanyl and cocaine suppliers not only to Jacksonville, but other major metropolitan areas across the United States, including New York City, Boston, Atlanta, Los Angeles, Richmond, Cincinnati, and Orlando. Additionally, this operation led to the arrest of a California drug supplier with known connections to the New Generation Mexican Drug Cartel. Law enforcement seized the following during Operation Decrypted: 10 kilograms of cocaine, a street value of $600,000, 76 kilograms of meth, a street value of over $500,000, 4 kilograms of fentanyl, a street value of $800,000, which equates to 2 million lethal doses of fentanyl. 116 pounds of marijuana were seized, a value of almost $300,000, 7 firearms, 2 vehicles were used in drug trafficking, and $30,000 in cash proceeds during drug trafficking. We will never, ever be able to quantify the lives that were saved by removing this poison and those who profit from this poison from our streets. But unquestionably, through the excellent investigative work of the men and women of the JSO Narcotics Unit and our law enforcement partners over the course of these months, our community enters a new year safer and more secure. Additionally, from the information gathered from Operation Decrypted, other jurisdictions have gained new tools and intelligence to combat drug trafficking in their communities. Operation Decrypted stands as a major law enforcement achievement. Still, we know that our community will not be able to solely arrest its way out of the fentanyl problem. But the outcomes from this investigation evidence that law enforcement plays a vital role in removing the poison that feeds addiction and kills members of our community every single day. If you're struggling with addiction, I urge you to seek help from our many committed social service partners that provide addiction rehabilitation. And to those who are profiting off of the pain of those in our community struggling with addiction, we won't stop, and we won't quit. Overdose death in our community is one too many. One overdose death in our community is one too many. And Operation Decrypted shows how committed our agency and partner agencies are to enforcing the law, holding you accountable, and removing these poisons from our street. If you choose to profit off of misery and death in our community, we will use all of our investigative and technological resources to ensure you're stopped. I'll answer any questions, or our partners will answer any questions if you have any at this moment.
How many of these suspects on this board here are from the Jacksonville area? And if there are some from the Jacksonville area, are any of them currently tied to any other investigations, whether it be murder investigations, shooting investigations? Because as we know, drugs go hand in hand with gun violence.
Absolutely.
The specific number that are living here in Jacksonville, I couldn't say off the board. The majority of them are. There were 5 or 6 that came from around the country. That's where the other states were described. But the majority of these dealers were here in Jacksonville. As far as the violence related to that, of course, you're absolutely right that the drugs are the main reason for the violence that we are dealing with. What we prevented, the violence that we're really targeting here today, that we're describing, is the violence of the murder, manslaughter that is resulting from this drug dealing of the fentanyl that's killed 470 of our citizens of this county.
Am I hearing you guys correct in saying that this entire wholesale amount of narcotics, this all came from CJNG, Jalisco New Generation Cartel?
No, the source cities or sources were Jamaica, Mexico, California, and Georgia is where our sources for this investigation came from.
But I mean, in terms of, because I thought you said something about one from New Generation. Is that just one person has ties to New Generation, or?
Yes, one of the suspects that we arrested, he has ties directly to the cartel, and the DEA here was our partner and help in handling that and getting that individual in custody and then eventually extradited back to Jacksonville.
Mike, is he this person that has ties to CJNG? Is this person cooperating with DEA in terms of helping DEA locate others back that are other CJNG operatives here in the U.S.?
So what I can say is, listen, the Mexican cartels are ruthless, they're violent, and their product is killing Americans at a record rate. And the DEA is here to work with our partners and work things back to the sources of supply, and that's what we've done on this case, and we'll continue to do that and attempt to make our community safer.
How much of this stuff is coming in either weekly or monthly?
Well, these are the long-term investigation. You're trying to get as many of the organization as possible. The volume coming in, we can only guess based on how we were productive during this 4 months. It's a business. There's a supply and demand, and each week it could vary. So to give a specific number, I couldn't do that.
Was this coming in by plane or by?
How did you guys get tipped off about this in the first place?
Most of these large investigations are a culmination of long-term surveillance information, previous cases that build. Again, the goal of Operation Decrypted was to target an organization. It's their business, and to learn their business model and to target them is how this narcotics unit works.
Last question.
Was a lot of this coming in by plane, or was it coming in? How was this coming into Jacksonville?
So most of what we had in this in this operation was by land or air, but it's usually shipping methods of trucks or couriers was typically the method, and then unfortunately the U.S. Postal Service gets unwittingly involved because they send packages across the country.